Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Roberta Cocco. She is a performance coach and executive performance life coach at Roberta Cocco, where she helps individuals, teams, and companies create or recreate an intentional vision, take a sober look at reality, and stretch what's possible through powerful principles, mindset, and results-driven action. I am so excited to be able to have this conversation and share a story with you today. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Roberta.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Bryce. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. And before we go any further, for those watching, if you're watching this from any location that is outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you inside. It's taken a very, very, very long time to cultivate such a positive group of people who want to see you succeed. So if that's you, come and join us today by clicking the link either above or below. Now, Roberta, what was life like before you got into coaching? And really, what was the catalyst that brought you into the space?
Bryce, that's a great question. And there's so many ways that I could go about answering it. But basically, I think the thing that I've really taken away from coaching and that it's allowed me to do is recognize I can create the kind of life that I want to have. So prior to coaching, I'd say I was drifting along in a bit of a default future, kind of like my mama always told me it was going to be fine. And it was fine, but it wasn't quite what I was capable of. So the thing that brought me into coaching, I actually was in a different career and I wasn't satisfied. And so I sought out a coach for myself and began to understand the principles and the ideas around coaching and what it opens up. And then a couple of years into it, decided to pivot.
Can I ask you this question? So that's a real thing. Oftentimes people talk about, to make it, you either have to be facing a struggle, but oftentimes like going through life as fine can be just as hard as starting from like the bottom, because it's like there's not as much reason to go. Can you share your thoughts on that and talk to that? Or
Yeah, that's a great distinction. And I think that a lot of people are going through life and it's fine. But there's no real passion. There's no real reason to get up, excepting for the alarm went off again. And we're in this like rhythm and we're comfortable and we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do and we're getting all the things we thought we should have. But there's a lot more, I think, that we're capable of. And then of course there's that distinction when you hit the rock bottom or something really takes a left turn and it's like, buckle up, I need to make a change.
That's the interesting thing when we're talking about like the comfortable rhythm. Like a lot of people, even as we're seeing now, being too comfortable can almost be like, sometimes a bad thing, because when things shift and, sometimes we become too complacent and can't move fast enough. Maybe we could talk about how to, even if we're in our comfort zone, start being prepared to kind of be ready to be shiftable.
Yeah, I love that. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable until being comfortable, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, who doesn't love to sit on the couch for a while until you've been there a while? And then you create that new system or that new rhythm when that becomes your new normal. And then when there is a disruption, you're like, whoa, wait a second, I'm not ready for it. So I love to invite people to really take the time to realize what allows them to be their best self and to create some rhythms in their life that continue to build momentum. So even when life is slowing down, even in those times, it can be intentional to create momentum in the future. Right? So you don't ever like lose your rhythm. Does that make sense?
It does. As you're kind of talking, I was like, the more comfortable that you get, the more and the more focused on like the present that you become, I think people start to lose track of like the past, right? Because like, even what, 8, 10, 11, 12 years ago, we were having like, the world was falling back then. And then, right now we're in slightly different, but everybody talks about things like this has never happened before, but they forget about the Black Plague that, that was solved by quarantine too. They might not have had technology, so that would make it even harder for them to be able to make money. It's like people forget. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is really true. And I think it's tempting to feel like the world is, like the sky is falling,
Hmm.
and it's never been like this, and we don't know what to do. When in fact, we're capable of doing hard things. We're capable of being resilient, and part of building those rhythms into our life can help us to be resilient, even when, can I say, when shit hits the fan?
If you want, yeah, you just did. Can I say it? You just did.
um, but right, so like we're in an interesting time right now, but we don't need a pandemic or an epidemic to have our feet knocked out from underneath us individually. Like in all of our lives, we've faced rapid change and disruption of some kind or another.
Yeah.
And so whenever that happens, having those stabilizing muscles in our own individual life, I think is imperative. It's important.
Mhm. You know, let me ask you this question. So, as being someone who had to learn how to build those rhythms back up and build those, muscles, maybe what's been your biggest takeaway from this quarantine, either slow down time we've been in right now?
Yeah, well, it's a continual learning process. I feel like I'm really living in the questions as opposed to having to find the resolution, right? So this is a journey that I'm involved in, and whenever I begin to think it should end, that's when I find myself in trouble,
Huh.
because we're constantly in a journey of life, and we can set different goals. We can have new visions and new ideas that where we learn to kind of dance
Mhm.
inside of life. And so where I am finding the most value is in remaining flexible and creative,
Mhm.
um, in anchoring into the truth that I'm capable, right? Like, so while things continue to change and may take me by surprise, I can continue to utilize whatever's thrown at me and discover and create something new. And so it's been exciting. I found a lot. I've created a lot of new things I never would have created if I didn't have the current structures and sometimes restrictions.
Yeah. No, and just kind of think about the future, kind of as life after what we're going through now, and just can you maybe talk about the vision for your life as far down the road as you like to think or talk about?
Yeah. Well, I love to keep a futuristic mindset,
Mhm.
right? While we're living in the present, we can be pulling ourselves backward into the past, or we can
Oh,
pull ourselves forward into the future. And so, as I think maybe 2 or 3 years out,
hmm.
um, like that's a nice place for me to play, where I believe there's going to be a lot of opportunity, continuing to restructure and recreate 10 to 20 years from now, right? Like I'm looking forward to uh, my business growing, the partners that I've created along the way, continuing to influence and impact their cultures and their people. I see the potential for a real beautiful world where we've all taken the time to realize how much we need each other,
Hmm.
right? And what things are really important, how to communicate better, how to listen better, and how to meet each other's needs in ways that we, up until now, maybe we're too distracted to even recognize.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of possibility and potential for growth, and for beauty, right? And to dig into some of those things about our humanity that we may have lost last year, we weren't thinking about because we were so focused and concentrated, maybe on some things that we realize now don't matter as much. The relational, the emotional health, just the encouragement. So there's some deep growth, I think, ahead of us for those who want it.
Hmm. You know, Let me ask you this question. So, what are some cool? Do you have anything that you're working on right now? Anything new? Anything that you like to share, or anything at all?
Um, yeah, well, as an executive coach, I'm working with individuals and teams on a continual basis, and so I can't really go into any of the work that my clients are up to, but it is exciting to continue to see people committed to creating healthy cultures and environments, committed to dreaming and imagining. I'm also involved in what's called the Executive Performance Institute for Coaching, where we are just finishing our pilot program. We've had some graduates coming up here in September, and we are looking forward to continuing to produce elite executive coaches that will run alongside our leaders in the future and help them, well, not really help them, right, but run alongside them as they take new ground and discover new opportunities.
Yeah. You know, where can people go to either learn more about you or see more about what you have going on?
Yeah, I love that. So I have a website. It's robertacocco.com. So my name is Roberta, that's Robert with an A, and then Cocco, COCCO.com. And I have a YouTube and a newsletter, a variety of different links there
Oh, nice.
to connect with me and find out more about what I'm up to and what's happening.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me some tips maybe a little bit later about how to do YouTube better. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, and for those watching, that's kind of why we do these interviews, because we need to be able to get around people that are a little bit either, in a different spot in their life, or maybe can just give us little tips and tricks, because you never know what can help you move to the next level. So that's why you should click the link either above or below and join us inside the community. Also, it's not every single day, especially now in these times, that you have people that are actually supporting you along your journey. So if you need that support system, come in and join us by clicking the link above or below. Now, hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit the share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. Join the community. We'll see you soon. And we're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1 and